So when in reality, the private plans have actually been around since way before that even became a thing. Those are public plans, that's what we call them. And then you have me, private insurance, so private group plans, private individual, private family, private small business. I'm your favorite tax write-off. That's what people have been calling me here lately, so I'm just gonna roll with it. Everything that has to do with private health insurance is a tax write-off for you guys. And I know y'all are bookkeepers and probably a couple of CPAs through here, so please don't come for me. I don't know all the state laws on those like very individually. I just know that they send out something and me as a business owner is a tax write-off for me. So you have those, and then you have employer plans, and then you have some guy named Cobra. We don't like Cobra. Cobra is not something that you have to have, and a lot of people don't know that. So when you leave a job, or you are terminated and they offer to allow you to keep your health insurance, you do not have to take that plan if you do not want to. You could reach out to somebody like me who is licensed, and we would go over the plan. I have 3,000 plans. I'm not a captive agent, so there's captive and there's non-captive. A captive agent, I don't want to say something and get a whole bunch of stuff in my inbox. Okay, let me think. Okay, what's a good example? Everybody knows Aflac, right? The flying bird. Aflac. Okay, cool. So if you work for Aflac, you can only sell their products. And Aflac actually has some really amazing products. I wish I could sell them, but I am not captive. So when you are a captive agent, you can only sell for that company. Aflac does have really good supplemental insurance, though. I do have better in some areas, but there's always going to be some ups and some downs with certain companies, right? That's going to be all companies all across the board. But Aflac would be a captive agency. You can only work for them. You have to be employed through them. Non-captive, I pick up the phone, I call, I get the contract. So I'm individually contracted with them. And we do have somebody called an IMO. So IMO, when you start selling as much and your books become very large, you have to have an IMO, which is basically the guy with the connections of the insurance companies directly. So I could just pick up the phone and say, hey, I want Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. And he's, I was like, get it for me. 3 days later, I have Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is the daddy of all plans. That is what we call daddy in insurance. Funny, maybe not to outsiders, but to us, yes. Cobra is not my cup of tea. I do not like Cobra. They take their plan, their employer plan that you have, they increase it times 104%. I believe that's what they're still allowed to do as of February. I don't think I've looked at it since February. They're allowed to increase the rate up to 104%, which is why it skyrockets for you if you so choose to keep it. Or you can go and find a private plan. Yes, you can go in and out of plans throughout the year. Private doesn't have an open enrollment period. Sometimes there are open enrollment periods throughout the year for like your employers or like your husbands or your wives. Sometimes like you'll see that their open enrollment is randomly in April, or one is randomly in August. A whole bunch of them come through. Don't know why, but there are some plans that do have an enrollment period, but it would go based off of some health conditions. So like my type 1 diabetics is really, or heart murmurs, heart transplants, things along those lines. Those are really going to be for very serious cases that you have to wait for that open enrollment slot to become available. And I'll be honest, I don't mess with a lot of those plans just specifically because they end up being 4-5 times the amount of a marketplace plan. But I want to open up the floor and see if anyone has any questions so far with all of that, because I can go on forever. I love fighting the federal government on health insurance. Like, it's my cup of tea.
If you do have questions, if you want to post those in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
And then we can chat.
So I will say that we can also talk about loopholes. So there is a loophole that I really enjoy using. I'm not going to name any companies, but there are loopholes such as plans that as long as they are in place, you can pull people in and out of plans. So like I always put a critical, terminal, and chronic illness plan on anyone that comes onto my books. It is a requirement because if I can't like move you in and out of plans to save your life so that you can see the doctor that you want, or let's say you live in Florida, but you need to go see a doctor all the way out in Oregon. Oregon has a completely different set of like regulations and things along those lines. There's only 5 states that I am not licensed in, and those are just because of rules and regulations. I don't reside within those states. And then again, they also have their own kind of like little healthcare system outside of being programmed with the kind of the rest of the states and how most of us work and operate. Everybody, those few states have tried different things. So I always use a loophole. I put a critical terminal and chronic illness on you. You can keep it throughout life. One of my favorite ones to do is an IUL, which is an index universal life insurance plan. I don't know if you guys know about those, but basically what happened was a man wanted a tax write-off and he wanted his savings account. Like you go to the bank and you open up a savings account. You get like 1 to 3% interest on what you put into it, right? So he wanted more, but he needed it to be a tax write-off. So an IUL has a life insurance policy attached to it, but it's also a savings account. So for instance, my daughter is 7. I pay a monthly premium of $40 a month. And by the time she is 18, I put in an extra 5K a year. So hers is growing at a 12% interest rate. 12 to 13% interest rate. By the time she's 18, it'll grow to about 300,000. She can pull out of it. She can buy, the goal is for her to buy a duplex next to whatever college she wants to go to because she decided that she wanted to be a vet. And she's been saying that since she was 3. And so I know there's doctors that we go and see at the hospitals and stuff like that. And that's a lot of student loans. And I plan on her having no student loans. So, cause that's an interest we don't like. A savings interest, a growth interest we do. A lot of times you can add an S&P 500 to it. And that's a safe investment. It's not like a Roth IRA. I'm not going to be a fan of a Roth IRA. It's a 50-50 shot on those, right? Somebody's playing with your money. You got a 50% chance you're going to get something, 50% chance that you're not. I like going the safe investment route. And there are some companies that will go based off of your health because that's extremely important. And I think that my assistant actually brought up something that she wanted to make sure that she wants me to keep reiterating this weekly if she had it her way. But it is very important that the types of medications you take, that you question your doctors. You can go and talk to a pharmacist. Pharmacist went to school for Sherry. Okay. No, it's okay. Pharmacist went to school for medication. Ask a pharmacist. There are pharmacists. I used to work, I think when I was in high school, I used to work we have it over here called James Drugstore. It's an amazing little drugstore, but the pharmacist would catch for the people coming in, the consumers coming in, when they would come pick up their medications that would conflict, right? Because that's all they went to school for is medications. So anytime your doctor writes you a prescription, that goes on a medical record of yours. So you can be denied life insurance. You can be denied retirement fund options, annuities, some really great annuities can go based off of your medications and your medical history. So if someone is going to list you at PCOS, maybe get a second opinion before they just throw you on metformin, because insurance is going to look at that as you are a type 2 diabetic. They don't care what paperwork you send in. They are not going to take that chance because you are now listed as a type 2 diabetic. Now, there are some ways around it. Sometimes doctors will code it properly, but not all doctors do. It's all a difficult world to keep up with. Just like y'all's tax world and bookkeeping worlds, what types of health insurance plans are best for self-employed individuals? It goes based off of your health. I am going to be a benefits person. I like benefit plans. I am not a fan of major medical, and I know that kills some people on the inside. Major medical rules and regulations were lifted several years ago, And it is something to where basically with major medical, you have your deductible. And then sometimes we see like a 70-20, a 70-30, 80-20, and then you have the out of pocket. So deductible is what you hit first, and then insurance picks up the larger percent, you pick up the smaller percent until the out of pocket is reached. And then once that out of pocket is reached, 100% is supposed to be covered for the remaining 365 days. So I'm not going to be a fan of that, because when rules and regulations were lifted a few years ago, which we're hoping that they go back in place soon, we're looking forward to April, hoping that does happen. But it's now left at the discretion of the insurance company on if they are going to pay out or not. So I've been a fan of benefit plans, and basically that's you're using like for what you go to the doctor for is what the insurance is going to pay that benefit out for. So you'll have a benefit and it renegotiates a cash price. So for instance, and I didn't go to college for math, y'all, I got 5 college degrees and not any of them have to involve math. So let me pull up a calculator while I say this. So for instance, let's say that you go to the doctor and it's $200. The cash repricing is going to be about 50% of that, because they like to upcharge insurance companies, right? They want to get the most they can out of it. So you get 50% off when it comes to the benefits plan of just about any kind. You can get more. I haven't seen less except with anesthesiologists, because a lot of anesthesiologists are 1099 now. So you go to the doctor, it's $200. You cash price it because of the insurance with the benefits plan. It turns it to $100. Your benefit for it, typically, I haven't seen any benefits plan under 150 pay out for it. So you should get about a $50 check back in the mail, because the portion of the benefit that goes unused is reimbursable back to you. So I would say coaching business for success, what types of health insurance plans are best for self-employed, is going to be benefits plans. Or if we want to look at something depending on someone's health, so like my type 2 diabetics, there are a few companies, or I can't do type 1 anymore, which is unfortunate and it makes me sad. But when we come to like type 2 diabetics, I would probably say going off of a PHCS multi-plan. So those were built to be the cheaper version of the PPO. So how I'm gonna rank it, just based off of everything that all of the insurance companies I've battled and fought with, I'm gonna rank it PPO. That's top dog, that's top tier. And then I'm gonna go PHCS multi-plan. They're going to use those broadband PPO networks. So they're like an everybody catch-all for people who aren't as healthy enough to qualify for PPOs, or who just can't afford PPOs. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of PPOs, like I do well for myself and my child, but I'm not paying $1,500 a month just for me and her and health insurance. That's not happening. Mm-mm. Nope, you'd be seeing me cut off a leg and sell it on the black market. Not doing that. And then it would go EPO would be after that. EPO uses a very specific network. And I do have my Facebook. I'm not a salesy person. I don't like salesy people. I'm just an informative person. I like being very informative on everything I can. So regardless of it being my Instagram or my Facebook or even on TikTok, it's just like a dump of knowledge. So I don't even do any advertising, never have. But EPO uses a very specific set of networks. So sometimes, and my daddy actually works for a company like this right now because they got bought out. They use an EPO network. And what that means is when health conditions and things like that arise, they have that set of doctors in this area. But if surgeries and things along those lines were needed, they're going to fly him out, and which they did do because he had a hernia in his stomach. Don't tell him I told you. But he flew out for that. They took care of that. They took care of boarding and stuff like that, and then brought them back home. So there are some facilities that's, hey, we have that partnership. We take care of y'all. Y'all take care of us. And EPO is it's pretty good. After that, you're going to have HMO. And HMO is limited to the area in which you reside in or the state itself, unless an emergency, and you are going to fight. If you go to Disney World and you leave home, I don't know where everybody's from, but I live in Louisiana. So if we go to Disney World and I have an HMO and I break my ankle while I'm in Disney World, and I have to have emergency surgery, and I'm just making this up on the fly, or my appendix ruptures, whatever the case may be, I'm gonna have to fight insurance to get them to pay out. They're not gonna want to. It's gonna take forever. I'm gonna be coming out of pocket up front. I'm gonna be waiting to get reimbursed, but they do have to cover out-of-state emergencies. And then the last one you have is POS, which I think we all know what that stands for, so I don't need to say it. I think it's actually, isn't that point of service? My assistant said POS, but it's supposed to be point of service, but it is a POS. I would say it goes based off of your health, but I've been a benefits girly through and through. So unless you are on quite a few medication, if you're anemic, I would not do a small benefits plan. I would get a large benefit plan. There's a lot of them that cover blood transfusions. Like Allstate has a fixed indemnity, which is a benefits plan. And a lot of people talk crap about them, but if you stay in contact, that's why I'm a customer service first person. If you stay in contact with your health advisor, because like we have to get licensed to do this. If your customer service comes first, then people are just gonna your clients are gonna send you more clients. So I've never understood why not taking care of your people. So like I've answered my phone at 3 o'clock in the morning for a client, and an alligator snapping turtle had bit his son's or her son's finger off, and she's like, what do I do? Get off the phone with me, call an ambulance or get him up to the hospital. Oh, okay. I'm like, okay. But I'm there at that 3 o'clock in the morning sort of thing. One other thing that I think a lot of people, and I'm probably gonna get hate on this, I gotta figure out how to say it. When you have a baby, within those first 30 days of you having a baby, you should get a whole life policy on that baby. They're like $8 a month. It'll go all the way up until $20,000. You'll have that probably paid off just for paying that $8 after the interest is gonna build on it. It'll probably take you 10 years, and now they have a $20,000 policy. Anytime later during life, if something happens, they can take out and they can use it. Get one of those policies, because if something happens to that baby, medical wise, a diagnosis, anything along those lines, it can jeopardize them being able to get private health insurance or any kind of life insurance plan. And I do know that a lot of people think with health insurance and life insurance are one and one. If you get declined for a health insurance plan, there's 9 times out of 10 you're going to be declined on life. And we have life insurance to bury us. We have life insurance to make sure the bills are paid when we do pass. You are not always going to get approved for it. Pick your life insurance advisor very cautiously. I have 142 contracts and I only 5 of them, but I'm pretty vocal. I told the CEO of Walgreens that I didn't like him. So I am pretty vocal about those things, but make sure that you get an advisor, make sure that you do your research. Obviously, you can actually reach out to me if you have any questions. What if we didn't get it right after birth? Beneficial to get it now, even if they are older? Yes. If they're under the age of 18, I would still go with a whole life policy. Or actually, you could even do an IUL like I did for my daughter. You can do an IUL. That way, what you're paying into builds. I had a client here recently, and I actually lost him. I did not get to write him. He wanted a term life insurance policy. And he's 22, 23. He's healthy as a horse. I'm not writing a 22-year-old a term life policy, and life insurance agents make the most money off of term life insurance. They make the most off of it. So that's why they are going to push it on you. You are not getting a term life policy from me unless you are that unhealthy, and I can only give you a guaranteed issue term life policy, which typically is what comes to me at between the 60 to 70 range. I wasn't doing it, and I told him I wasn't doing it because it's a waste of your money. So term, you can get something called an ROI, and if you are writing anything down, I would write down ROI is a return of investment. I would look into that if I were y'all. So with term policies, they're super cheap. They're not guaranteed renewable though. So after, say you get a term life for 20 years, it's gone. 20 years, it's gone. So you've been paying monthly into something. And unless you pay that times 3, which is where the ROI comes in for the return of investment, unless you pay that times 3, you're not gonna get that money back. So an IUL, at least you are getting that money back. What you put into it is what you're receiving out of it, and it's also growing at an interest. I'm gonna want my money back. So I like to use it as a savings account in the S&P 500 as a safety net. I do annuities for retirement only because there was somebody in the local area that was scamming clients and people, and when they got back to me, I just said, hold my beer and watch this. So I also do horse insurance now too, because we had a scammer running around and I wasn't going to have that. It's very important to make sure that you research also state license. Anything that has to do with the protection of your life or the protection of your estate. So like you're adding net worth, or you were protecting your net worth, or you were protecting yourself. Financial advisors, me, health, life, accident, supplement, a real estate agent, homeowners insurance, car insurance, things along those lines. You have to have a state license for it. Plumbers, electricians, anybody who does work on your estate, because that's the protection of your estate, they need to be licensed and insured for it. So you can always say a great way to get scammers like out the window, even with pet insurance, okay? Because I've seen a lot of it going around. But you can say, okay, show me your state license, and if everything checks out, I'll get back with you. There ain't a salesperson in the world that can come back from that. There's not. They just ain't. And I send everybody my state license, and it has my personal address on there because we're from Louisiana, we're a little bit different. What are the essential coverages someone should look for in a health insurance plan? Ooh, I like that. The essential coverage is, so you want doctor's visits, you want hospitalization benefits. So you want the insurance company to pay out if you are going into the hospital, okay? We want them to pay money, and if we profit money, okay. I want blood work. Blood work is, any insurance is gonna be the most expensive that you do actually come out of pocket unless you have a very low copay, or which is gonna be a low income household rate. That's not for me?
Not for right now.
Oh. You can't be putting sticky notes out. Okay, you caught my ADHD off guard. Okay, hospitalization. We want to make sure that they are paying out. Blood work. I don't even care about blood work inside of health insurance policies, honestly, anymore, because they have this place called, y'all have probably heard of it, Quest Diagnostic. And what's the other one? It's like Quest Diagnostic, and there is another one. I'll think about it in a second. But it's a 70 to 90% price reduction already without health insurance. So that's really nice to have. Something else that you want to probably look for is you want to make sure we have a PPO, a PH, or a PHCS. We don't want HMO. We don't want it. And we don't want the POS, okay? Remember, no POS. EPO, you see it on Marketplace every now and then, but not the biggest fan. And you want to make sure accident supplement. So not like car wreck accident, not that, like injury accident. You want an injury accident supplement plan. If you can get a critical illness on it, you want them to try to attach a critical illness on it. And vision insurance is super cheap. It could be $2 to $3 for the entire family if you're gonna, like, because a lot of companies, when you put that accident supplement on there, it's gonna offset. It's gonna be like, hey, here's like a thank you. Make sure that you guys get your eyes checked. Have y'all seen those LEDs rolling around at night on the cars? Ugh. Almost blinding me here lately. Blinding. Ridiculous. So those are the things that I would say that are important to make sure that you have in a health insurance. Vision and dental were my next question. I love vision and dental. And most dental policies are going to be about the same. My assistant was a hygienist for 12 years, a dental assistant for 12 years. And she's like, all dental policies are the same. And I'm like, nope, hold up, watch this. So when you go with a dental policy, it needs to be you need to go based off of the dentist. Most 99% of dental policies are going to be the same. Vision policies, not so much. Now, dental has been cheaper lately with dental and vision. They did start that on January 1st. A lot of company like United Health One started with dental and vision being cheaper when they're pulled together. And a lot of companies have been throwing hearing in there for when like husbands get selective hearing. Yeah. No offense if there's any men in here. Sorry. I have selective hearing too. So go based off of your dentist. That's what I would do. Who does your dentist take? And then go off of their, you don't want to change dental and vision policies a whole lot. So dental really does have limitations. So the first year, they're going to pay out half of what they're going to pay out in that second year. So you want, when you find a dentist that you love, then you go based off of what insurances they take. You get someone like me, we take a look at everything, but that's going to be something you want to keep, because when you get to that year 2, that's when all those good benefits start kicking in. Like $50 for a root canal, give it to me. Not that exists, but I don't think $50 for a root canal exists with anybody except maybe Exxon. Maybe ExxonMobil, which if I could write their health insurance, that would be nice. We have any other questions? I know that's like a lot of health is a lot. It's a huge brain dump. There are a lot of policies out there that are not owned. They're just branded now. So Blue Cross Blue Shield owns very few plans based off of what we see that they own. A lot of it is just branding. It's about making sure that we're very educated. And are there specific plans designed for small business owners? Actually, there was a couple of people who got together and built like this group sharing plan. And so it is an actual health insurance policy, just like you would get with an employer. But you're able to join it. And so the cool part about that is, say that you have 10 employees and everybody's on it. 3 employees leave, but they're like really worried about their health insurance. That's not a thing. They can keep it and they can go with them. There are things like that you can join. I do 3 of those. And then there are benefits plans that are actually designated for small businesses, such as making sure that they include teledoc services, unlimited teledoc, unlimited urgent care, even unlimited dermatologist phone visits. So that way, if you are a small business and you're traveling constantly, or I have it, I don't travel constantly, but I do have it because I know when my daughter got strep, because toddlers are gross. They just like to share everything. I didn't have to get her out of the house and take her to the doctor and anything like that. I could just like FaceTime with the doctor. So yeah, I love Teladoc. MD Live is pretty nice too. There's 3 or 4 of them that I'm really fond of. I have availability to sell a couple. I'm just not the biggest fan of a lot, but Teladoc is one. Doctors are the fun. Yeah, in general. Yeah, no, you're right. I don't like leaving either. I don't like leaving either. Probably why I got fat during COVID. Hated leaving the house. Love DoorDash. Hate leaving. Does anybody else have any other questions? I am licensed in 45 states. I am a big dog. I try to be pretty humble about it, but I am the number 3 broker in the country. So I don't mind. There's a lot of people who do have a very specific broker that they love. And sometimes they'll reach out to me and say, hey, do you think that this is what is best for me and my family? This is what they're offering. Most brokers who are really good at customer service are not going to put you on a bad plan, because word of mouth travels. A bad review, as we know, travels a lot further and a lot faster than anyone else. How can we get in touch with you? What are the 5 states you aren't licensed in? Washington, New York, California, Oregon, and Maine. Maine doesn't exist. I feel like that is Canada. There's a little creek that's in between it. You can just jump over. I got family from Canada, but those are going to be the 5 states that I'm not licensed in. So I'm an S Corp. I need a family plan with pre-existing conditions. I was advertised to get commercial insurance, but I wasn't paying out the wazoo. I can help you with that.
So if you are listening to this on the recording, there'll be information in the description on how to get in touch with Kristi or next steps, all of those things. So just wanted to throw that out there.
I'm not hard to find. My mama didn't want me to find a keychain, so Kristi. There's no E or Y on the end of it. Not hard to find. Kristi Knows Health. You can find it on just about any platform. I'm on Alignable too, so if any of you guys like to connect, I have a lot of clients all over the country, and I always tell people that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I am everyone's shot of tequila if necessary. So we don't always get along with everybody, and that's okay. That's okay if there's conflicting personalities and things like that. Me and the top five, we are actually all really good friends. And there are times when, one of the guys will, his name's Corey, he'll be like, hey, Kristi Bug, I got this Southern Belle and I don't know how to handle it. And then sometimes I'll just get like an overachieving, my daddy's an attorney kind of guy, and I'll just send that one to him. Because sometimes there's personality conflicts, and that's okay. It's okay. We can't be everybody's cup of tea. So I would say that I know that you guys are small business owners. And so if you can find a couple of bookkeepers in other states that, like, if one personality doesn't work with you, but you can say, okay, like this personality is not working, here's another one. Be proactive in choosing and things like that. Just that way that your clients can get the help that they need and the customer service that they deserve. Because I know that we don't like everybody, but we try to. Perfect. I will reach out. Perfect. I'm looking forward to it. I will be back in office today. I'm just catching up. So if you send it on over, you get in touch with me. I'm just catching up today, but I will be working all day tomorrow for sure. I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas. Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns?
Okay, so thank you, Kristi, so much for joining. We'll watch for questions to come through as we wrap up. Her website will be linked in the show notes below if you are joining us after the fact. Feel free to reach out to her. She is licensed in likely your state too. Do reach out, get those questions, get second opinions, all of those things. If you're currently on the market for health insurance or know you will be in 2025, or life insurance. So she is licensed in life insurance as well.
And I
which we talked
do
about a
for
little bit today.
free, not to cut you off, I do for free review your life policies to make sure that you have what you need. And a lot of times I will keep you with the same company. I'll just give you, hey, this is what you need to call them and this is what you need to do. You can send me over health policies that you currently have. There are a lot of clients that I turn away because sometimes that policy is just too good for them to walk away. If there's like a $200 difference, I'm not going to pull you away from something if it's better than something I can offer. So I am not going to lie to you. And that's mainly because my address is on my state license, every single one of them. So I don't need you guys like just showing up. You can for coffee or tea. But yeah, nope, I don't like lying. That's why I got into this. But yeah, if anybody wants me to review something, I do that at no cost. I'd rather make sure that y'all are okay and safe and have something that you need instead of not have it at all.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you so much, Kristi, for your time today. And
Thanks
then
for
if you
letting me
have
come
any
on.
additional questions, you can also find her contact information on her website as well. So we will see you guys next Thursday, and we will continue all things small business, all things bookkeeping. Thank you, Kristi, so much.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me. Hopefully I made some sense.
Of course. Okay, thanks. Bye, guys.